about to step into one right.
Welcome to Black Girl Magic.
I'm Aisha.
I'm Anaya,
I'm Alexis.
I'm Angelica.
and this is our senior project. So this year, or during our spring term of our senior year, we decided that we wanted to do a senior project on social justice action research. And it so happened that all of the people that signed up were Black and female, so we decided to go with intersectionality.
We just wanted to explore further the Black female experience in Lawrenceville and then in life in general.
Yeah, I guess the hope of our study is just to give light to some topics that don't necessarily get voiced publicly, for that matter.
We recognize that we're all speaking from our own experiences, so just have an open mind and be prepared to learn something that you might not have known before.
Everything is everything. What is meant to be will be.
So now we're going to talk about hair. So is it important to you guys? Like, how do you guys feel about it?
Well, I mean, the first thing that comes to my mind, there's this stigma about, like, good Black hair. So I don't know, what does that mean? I feel like that means either having this really, we were talking about, like, the curl pattern being very consistent and, like, really silky versus, I guess the bad hair stigma would be kinky and kind of the word that's used, nappy and, like, coiled up.
From a very young age, personally, I've learned that hair has been is a big part of beauty, especially for Black women. So I remember my grandma saying, no, you shouldn't cut your hair because your hair is your beauty. Your hair is a woman's beauty. And I think that's something that a lot of Black women take to heart. Especially because I guess like a lot of people like to joke about the versatility of Black hair and how frequently Black women tend to change their hair. But no one really talks about the pain that a lot of people go through when they're changing their hair. Yeah. So when you see those 15-year-olds or even 14 or 13 or younger with those long braids that makes their hair more manageable, people don't really think about the pain that they go through, or even just the simple fact that a lot of them are doing it just so that their hair can seem manageable or presentable, for that matter.
Yeah. I also think there's like definitely like a graduated way of looking presentable or looking good with your hair. So like when you're a kid, your mom sort of like let you have your hair more out. Like it was always done, but it was more out and like more like natural. And then as you got older, it was like it can be less natural and it was like less presentable. Like I know I started getting braids in like the 6th grade or like the 5th grade, and like now I braid my hair like the entire time. Like it's almost never natural. So I definitely think like as you get older, it's just less and less appropriate to have your hair out and like the way it grows from your head.
That's a different experience from mine, because I remember when I was younger, I always wanted to have my hair out. My mom would never let me until I got older and learned to do it myself. That's when it became more acceptable to have my hair out how it is.
Yeah, I definitely had that experience, which unfortunately, I don't know, I feel like it didn't work out for me because I'd been getting my hair straightened for like formal events and for church every Sunday for so often that when I finally wanted to go more natural, like my curl pattern was just kind of gone. And so going through this like transitional stage where I want to wear it out, but I don't really feel confident because it looks crazy in one part and in another, it just causes me to kind of reflect on like my childhood and how could have had a very different journey had like my parents' influence or societal norms about what clean hair, kept hair looks like had been different.
Gabrielle Douglas,
Yeah.
like when she was doing her what is in the Olympics, and the Black community is the one attacking her for her hair. Why should she be concerned with that?
Yeah.
Especially when she's like a gold medalist and obviously the bomb. Like,
Yeah.
That was really shocking for me.
Blue Ivy,
Yeah.
even
Blue
as
Ivy.
an
I
example
still
of
attack
that.
her. She's like,
God.
like
But
why?
then you don't see them doing that for Northwest, and I'm sure that there are tons of occasions where Northwest just wets her hair and goes outside,
But
and
that's
that's
because she
completely
has
fine.
the acceptable,
Curl
Yeah.
pattern,
Yeah.
exactly.
That's what she's talking about.
Yeah, and I think it just also sucks too because I feel like I can't really go to formal events and wear my hair like this or wear my hair curly for that matter, and it's something that as I've gotten older I realize is like a problem that I need to address. Like I need to learn how to have my hair be natural or in its natural state and fashioned in a way where I think I look beautiful in that, because currently I don't think that having my hair straightened is the best alternative, because I don't think it looks that great either, you know. I don't like getting my hair straightened anymore. The only time I do get it straightened is when my parents are like, you want to get your hair done? I think you should get your hair done. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like, I was saying this before, I don't like how it sounds when my hair is straightening. I don't like hearing the sounds of the flat iron on my hair. So I recently decided that I just don't want to straighten my own hair anymore. And that's something that I have to come to terms with as far as managing it and making it look presentable. Whatever presentable means, you know?
Yeah.
For me, I've always, like, when it comes to straightening hair, I just, like, that's kind of the beauty of my hair, because I always thought that's why I like it so much, because I'm able to wear it curly, I'm able to wear it straight, and I think that's the beauty of, like, black hair in general. But people are saying, I know there's, like, a thought that just, like, black girls, or any girl with curly hair just shouldn't straighten their hair at all, because it ruins the curl pattern. That's just not how you were born. What do you guys think about that?
I mean, I think if you like the way it looks straight, then you should be able to wear it straight. But then I also think that if you're straightening it because you feel that it doesn't look good curly, or if you feel like you can't go out curly, then like that's a problem that you have to address. Like, so for example, if you want to wear it straight just because you want to wear it straight that day and you want to like look good that day, that's fine. But if you think that the only way you can look good is by having it straight, then like that's an issue that you need to like address.
Something else that people have to recognize is, like, even within the black female community, there are all different kinds of hair. And so when I was younger, I cut my hair, but when I was younger, it used to be a lot longer, and I would have it straightened a lot. And a lot of people would come up to me and ask me, like, oh, like, what are you mixed with? Or, like, you have really good hair. Your hair is so long. Like, you must be something else. And I'm African American. I don't know what else I am. This is my hair. Then people would assume that it was easy to maintain as well. So that's something that bothers me a lot. I remember like having to sit for hours, and like I was really tender-headed, meaning like when I get my hair done, it would hurt a lot to get it detangled. And so when people make assumptions about like my hair process or hair journey, I don't like that.
After winter, must come spring. Must come spring. Change it comes eventually. I wrote these words.
So now we're gonna talk about black females in terms of dating and relationships. And I want to start off by talking about dating within the black community, and what are your opinions or I guess experiences with that subject?
I think that dating with a black male is something that I always thought I would do. I've never really considered myself dating outside of my race. I believe that if only people within my race can see my beauty, then other people can see my beauty. And I think that a lot of people that I've talked to struggle with the idea that a lot of black men don't necessarily see beauty or see black women as dateable. So they find themselves struggling to, you know, like reach beyond black men. Because if black men can't see us as dateable or attractive, then who will?
Whenever I think of like black males being attractive to black females, there's always this like, ideal type of black female. So lighter skin, lighter eyes, certain type of hair, certain type of body shape. But it's never the black females that really reflect their mothers, or who look like their mothers, or the sisters, family members, or the black race in general.
And even not only is there a certain like aesthetic that I feel like a black man wants his woman to have, but also a certain personality. So I know talking with you guys, we discussed that they don't tend to go for the very strong and independent, outspoken black woman, because that's intimidating, and there's this need to be in power and control, or else your masculinity comes into question, like your ability to have authority over your wife or over your family comes into question as well.
Yeah. And I definitely think that the fact that the black men find themselves like less attractive to the independent women kind of creates like a vicious cycle, because like as she has like less people to lean on romantically, she becomes more independent and she wants to fend for herself more, and then that distances her from the man more, and it just like creates a cycle where there's just like the divide just becomes bigger and bigger as like the years go on.
Black mothers and black dads even are teaching their daughters to be independent and strong and intelligent, and conscious of the choices that they're making. And then you have the black males not looking so much for an independent and strong woman, because they want someone that may be like more able to fall into the role of, I guess like a more lenient role. And a lot of women who have single mothers, for example, haven't really experienced that family dynamic of a man taking that dominant role and then a wife being more lenient. They see black women as leaders of the family, and as the caretakers.
So do you think black men should have like a responsibility to like date black women or like be romantically involved with black women?
I think you should like who you want to like and love who you want to love, but it's just in the same breath. I don't know how. In my mind, I'm able to say that they should just love their black women too.
I feel like it all lies in the reasoning as to why you wouldn't want to date a black woman, and if your reason is just black women aren't my preference, well, that's just too large of a group to not have a preference in, and I just can't think of any other reason or excuse other than issues that aren't related to your race at all to not want to.
I think when I see myself in the future, I see myself with a black husband.
Mm-hmm.
So if I were to say I'll dabble, but then at the end of the day, I will have a black husband. Is that the same case with the black males not wanting to date, or just not seeing themselves married to a black woman? Let's say that.
I don't know. I don't think it's necessarily a responsibility that needs to be held. I think that it's just that there's such a large imbalance of what's going on for black women. Like, for example, I think I don't remember the exact stats, but black women, I can confidently say this, tend to date and marry black men more so than black men tend to marry and date black women. And I feel that there's a lot going on with the beauty standards, the level of respect, the level of, representation even that black women are getting as beautiful and dateable and just people, in general. And I think that oftentimes, black women are probably more comfortable being with black men because they think that that's somebody that they can relate to. But black men are like, I don't think you're that beautiful. And I don't even think it's their fault. So they often fall on it's my preference thing. And you think it's a preference, and I don't think it's your fault. I think that it's media. The representation of women, black women in media it's not very geared towards black women being beautiful. Yeah. And there's a standard of beauty that's portrayed in the media that makes other women, not just white women, Asian women, a lot of other women seem way more dateable and way more attractive than black women. So then that leaves us in a sort of pickle.
Yeah.
Who's gonna date us?
Yeah. I even think within this environment it's even harder because there are so many other factors, like when trying to branch outside of your race, like socioeconomic status and even where you live, that just makes it so hard to relate. And like, I understand wanting to marry and raise your kids with a black man because even the experiences I had growing up in a black household differ from a lot of the experiences that like my white peers have had growing up. And I'm not speaking for all black families or all white families, but there's just simply a difference. There has to be.
I feel like black women are just so, oftentimes they feel so alone and like so on an island that they will just like, they gravitate towards each other because they recognize like the struggle that like they all have to deal with, but then they find it harder to kind of like lean on other people just because they don't really feel like those people have like had to struggle or like go through the problems that they've had to go through. Or I guess that's the case in my example, but like I don't know if that's the case for you guys.
No one will love black women like black women love black women. So I mean,
Seems we lose the game before we even start to play. Who made these rules?
So now we're going to talk about cultural appropriation and the Kardashians. So I know the general gist of cultural appropriation is like taking features of one culture without attributing it to that culture and then using it as your own. But how do you guys feel about the Kardashians and like how they appropriate Black culture?
I think they're the biggest cultural appropriators of our time. They're the perfect example that people can turn to for cultural appropriation. Last night we were watching an episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, and we saw Khloe Kardashian with cornrows and hoop name earrings. So if you're not familiar with hoop name earrings, it's a 2000s trend from Black girls where they'll get big earrings and have their nameplate in them. I actually have some earrings. And so I saw Khloe Kardashian with them, and I was thinking, wow, I just imagine like a little white girl or even a little Black girl who doesn't know much about Black culture just sitting there like, wow, this is a really cool outfit, really trendy that Khloe Kardashian is bringing. It's so new and fresh from Khloe Kardashian. And when in actuality it's far from that. And they also don't attribute it to Black people and the Black people that they're clearly being inspired from.
The other part that really bothers me is that, let's say with this hoop earring example, Black people or others would just look at a Black girl with like gold hoops with their name in it and automatically label them as ghetto. And that's why I've never like thought to let me go buy some hoop earrings, because it's always been seen as a ghetto thing, or like people from like lower income or Blacks from like lower incomes do that type of ratchet stuff, you know. When Khloe does it, it's definitely fresh and new and it's acceptable now.
Do you guys think there can be reverse cultural appropriation?
How would that
Like-
I just don't see examples of that.
What would that look like?
I mean, I guess people could. It's so hard because people like, I don't know. They say, I mean, cultural is a mongrel affair. So like everybody takes something from other cultures, especially in America, because we're not a homogenous group.
Right.
But it's hard to say. Alexis, you really took from white culture today, and you didn't give them that credit.
Yeah.
And now everyone thinks it's better because you did it.
That will
No,
never
no
happen
one's
in
gonna
this
say-
lifetime.
No one's
It'll
gonna
never
say,
happen.
Alexis, not that you have weave in your hair,
Right.
Alexis, your long straight weave, you know, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
You know, I know you took it from, I don't know, Asian populations, but, and you didn't give them credit, but you still did it better.
So what would you guys say is the line between cultural appreciation and then cultural appropriation?
Oh, like homage.
Yeah. I think it's just about credit.
The credit.
Like
yeah.
if you give credit to the group or the culture that you're like taking it from, and just say like, yeah, they like I'm using it now, but they were the ones who made it, they were the ones who invented it, then like I think that's fine. But if you just take it, you never give credit, you never like acknowledge the history, and you just keep moving, like that's not okay.
I'm just thinking, like, would I ever think of the Kardashians to ever say, like, no? Like, do they know? Do you think they know?
No, Chloe, last night when I was watching her with her hoop earrings and her cornrows, I said, Chloe, you know
They
you saw a
have
picture of
to.
a Black girl.
They have
and I
to,
know you took
because
it.
what other white women or women, non-Black women before them have done this?
Yeah.
I can't.
I think they're dating black men
men, yeah.
is a further example of why they know. You're getting pretty well versed in the Black community.
Yeah.
You're probably seeing styles from the 2000s that are inspiring you.
Yeah.
The
The
90s.
clothing too.
Yeah.
The clothing too. Like now, this whole streetwear thing is
Yeah,
a
it's
really
coming
big
back
deal.
in,
Like,
like,
before,
the
you wouldn't
pants
have
with
worn
rips.
holes in your shirts.
Yeah.
You,
Yeah.
like,
The K-Swiss and the Reebok coming back.
Yeah, exactly.
little suspicious.
Let's love ourselves and we can fail to make a better.
Beauty standards is possibly the biggest topic that we'll talk about, just because it encompasses everything that we've been talking about. So I guess I want to know, why do beauty standards matter? What's so important about beauty standards, and what do you think is most important about beauty standards for yourself?
Well, I think a part of it is that the Black community, at least in America, but in general, is very wide, and it encompasses so many different people and so many different types of people that the standard that is applied to it like really kind of forces a lot of people to fit into a certain mold, and so it becomes more and more like everyone trying to attain this like one standard versus like certain like versus there having like a lot of different beauty standards for a lot of different types of Black people. So I think that really makes it harder and like more of a chasing, more of like an outside standard put upon the Black people instead of a standard created by the Black people.
For me, I think that beauty standards, I think what bothers me about beauty standards is that we oftentimes celebrate the most unique look, but not necessarily just celebrate what everybody else has. So that one look that people are trying to attain may not be that achievable, or may be achievable by one person because they're that unique, but we never find time to just celebrate what's normal.
Yeah.
Or normal, what's
Common,
average,
yeah.
common. So for example, I guess we could take eyes for example. If you're Black with a colored eyes, green eyes, light brown eyes, or hazel eyes, or anything, it's, oh my gosh, you're so beautiful now. But people never really take the time to like think, wow, those brown eyes are so beautiful, you know? I think I've gone up to people with brown eyes, your eyes are beautiful, and they'll be taken aback and never, like, what do you mean? Like, what? Why are my eyes beautiful? I mean, like, the shape, you know? Like, it's actually, you know, I don't think people ever take the time to think of common and commonalities as a beauty in itself.
First thing that comes to my mind, just because like attractiveness, like the fitting into the attractive mode, gets you farther in life, really.
Yeah.
When people think you're attractive, they're more lenient and they're more willing to include you in things, and you get that job, and it's proven. So that's the only reason why I can think of.
Yeah, it's interesting. I guess there's always like a time and a place for a certain look, so we've really been having this discussion about like the influence that like people in our inner circle, like mothers and like family members, can have. And so when I'm just going out to the mall or like going to the beach or something, I can wear my hair curly or something like that. But if I'm going to church, like my hair should be kind of like we mentioned before, like straightened. Or if a girl's applying for a job or something, I know this is like an extreme, but if she's applying for some, maybe like a modeling job and she's Black girl, she might be going to the extreme of like bleaching her skin. So there are all these pressures to look a certain way that you're not even like a different type of Black girl, because there is this coin Black girl that's noted as beautiful. And that makes it hard to just feel comfortable in your own skin.
I think that we've been so conditioned as not only Black people but as women. So I think there's like a double pressure to be a certain way, and because people, it's believed and proven that when you do look a certain way and are considered beautiful, you get farther.
And generally, like, I grew up in the suburbs, so, like, a lot of my friends are white and, like, super skinny, and, like, that, like, always, like, kind of seeing yourself as, like, bigger. Like, I don't consider myself fat, but, like, definitely, like, seeing yourself bigger in comparison to other people, like, that was always a struggle for me. And then, like, hair was also a struggle, which, like, of course, influenced my beauty standards, because I didn't start getting braids until, like, 10 or 11, so I used to wear, like, beads and barrettes and stuff like that, and people would be like, oh, like, that's how you're gonna wear your hair, or like you look like so young and like childish. So like there's always like other outside forces. So I think the problem was that I never really considered how I thought I was beautiful, and it was always like, well, like I'm not skinny enough, or my hair doesn't look good enough, or I don't like my skin tone. And it wasn't like, oh, like I think I'm pretty, and like these things are just parts of me that are also pretty. It was always like, well, these outside forces make me either pretty or not pretty.
For me, it's just so hard to see like other women in the Black community struggling with it. Like you'll tell someone, oh my gosh, like your hair looks so good today, or you just look so good today, and it's just like, no, like I feel so ugly, I feel this, my hair's a mess, blah blah blah. And then you do the same thing when someone compliments you. So it's just this cycle of just struggling, not feeling beautiful, that it's kind of painful to see other people go through, and to look in the mirror and know that some days like I go through that as well.
I think it also happens at a very young age.
Yeah.
Like it's hard to control because from a very young age. Somehow it's indoctrinated in us. Like, you guys know this story about when I was a little kid. I went to the New Jersey Ballet School for 2 years, or maybe it was a year and a half. I don't know if I even made it 2 years. Predominantly white ballet school, and we went all Saturday, so we had snack time. And the first time I went to snack time, my mom packed me like the kangaroo snacks with the dip, like it's a cookie with like an icing dip.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
That's
It's amazing.
I'm pretty sure I had fruit snacks in there. I maybe even had an apple juice. I didn't even have like, maybe she packed me a small water. I don't know. But the other girls who were 3 and 4, the same age as me, came out with raw carrot sticks and celery, and I was so confused. It was just so, like, they've been trained already at that young age. You're going to be a ballerina, and you have to be tiny to be a ballerina. And so I was like, Mom, can you, like, buy me carrots? She bought me carrots with peanut butter, so it was, like, still in the same package with peanut butter on the end, and still they were looking at me like, okay, why is she eating this? Like, and it's such a young age that we're taught, like, your body is a construction. Like, everything can be fixed or fixed, not even changed, because change can be good. Your body can be fixed. If you eat healthy, if you work out, if you do these exercises and put on this waist trainer for a few weeks, your body will suddenly be the beauty standard that you want it to be.
And I think the other thing is that, like, the women around us, like, so our, like, mothers and our aunts, like, our maternal figures have also kind of, like, bought into this indoctrination, and they've been indoctrinated too. And so they find it really hard to tell us that we're beautiful, because they want us to, like, be the best that we can be, because they know that, like, if you're more attractive, you can get the job, or you can get these other opportunities. So they want to, like, fix us. So they tell us all these, like, all of our faults. And I think that just, like, helps feed the cycle, because it's like you're not hearing every day that you're beautiful. You're hearing that you need to fix your hair, or, like, fix your face and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's really hard, and, like, I don't, like, have anything against, like, any women who wear makeup. I do, my mother does, but, like, I struggle, like, putting foundation on and wearing it all day, because I hate the feeling at the end of the day when I wipe it off and, like, I see my pimples and, like, light spots and stuff, and I'm, like, disappointed. And then I think to myself, like, wait, like, this is my face, you know? And just the fact that I have that realization every time I take makeup off is, like, it's just scary.
Back to the hair that you were talking about. Obviously, people should, I don't know, love their natural hair and should do whatever they want to do with their hair. But then it's just hard sometimes, because I've heard of countless stories where females at their workplace aren't able to put their hair in braids because their employer says it's not professional. You know, like, how do you deal with these situations? It's like you're taught this, that you should love your hair, or maybe you're taught that, you know, this isn't professional from your parents. But, like, are they doing the right thing? Are they actually setting you up to face the real world, or are they setting you up for failure?
Yeah.
Sometimes it seems we'll touch that dream, but things come slow and not at all.
They come slow, you know what I mean?
And the ones on top won't make it stop.
Never have I ever been told you're pretty for a black girl.
I have.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
actually, yeah.
It was implied, I guess, the way the language would, not like you're pretty for a black girl, but just like, oh, you don't see a lot of black girls with that, like, bone structure or hair. So I say, yeah.
It's happened to me on, like, several fronts. So I had a peer, this was in middle school. He was Puerto Rican, and he asked me, like, what is your family, you know? And usually I just say black, because I don't like to, like, go into, like, we're this and this. But we were talking, because he was saying he's, like, you know, Puerto Rican. I was like, oh, my mom's from Jamaica. He said, you're Jamaican? You don't look it. You're pretty for a Jamaican. I said, I've never heard this in my life. There's so many Jamaicans and so many different ways that Jamaicans look that there's no way you could know how a Jamaican looks.
It's like
Jamaica
a nationality.
Jamaican
is my Chinese grandfather is Jamaican.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
like, what does that even mean?
That's the whole.
And not to mention, and, like, I told you the story how my grandmother, well, I didn't hear her say it because she never said it to me, but when I came out of the womb, my grandmother was like, oh, she's pretty pretty for a dark skinned girl. And like she said that to my mother. My mother obviously like was not having it from the jump. So yeah, I've heard that, and I don't think it's a compliment. It's rude. One guy here said, "Oh, you know, Anaya is the prettiest black girl I've ever seen. She's so dark, but she's so pretty." So it's not.
That will never make me feel good.
No.
Yeah.
It's never a compliment.
No.
Everything, dog. Everything, dog.
What is meant to be.
Never have I ever thought about cutting my hair.
I think about it often, but then I think about how long it's gonna take for it to grow back.
See, yeah, I was gonna say I never wanted to cut my hair, and then I had to get my hair cut because it was growing like uneven, and I was just so sad. I'm like, oh my gosh, like my hair is not long anymore. I don't like this, blah blah blah. And like I like the length that it's at now, but sometimes I still wish that it was longer. And I don't know why.
I'm gonna cut my hair in the summer.
I love cutting my hair. This is a product of me cutting my hair to my ear. I've been wanting to cut my hair since freshman year, and then my mom was like, yeah, you could get a little shorter bob, and it ended up just being like sort of shoulder length for a little bit, like here. And then I was like, I'm old enough now, like I'll take care of my hair, and then I cut it to here, and it's the best decision that I ever made.
Yeah, I think like my hair is growing unevenly right now, and like I just feel like I'm too attached to it, so I'm gonna try and cut it off and just see what happens. It's scary, but like I think I'm ready.
It's so funny because it's just hair. It's like literally dead.
Yeah.
Dead cells.
Who won't accept deception instead of what
Never have I ever called out a teacher for doing something that I perceived racist or sexist.
Not to their face.
Yeah.
I just
Well, what?
and something's happened to me, and like I really wanted to call them out, but then like, you know, I've never been the type to think about my grade, but then I think about like, okay, I have 2 more months here, and I really just need to get an A in this class.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't really want to pick a fight with a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Also, it's sometimes like it takes too much energy out of me to explain to people what they're saying is like wrong and insensitive, and then and sometimes I think you're a grown person
You should
too.
Yeah.
If they're younger, I think I'll take more time to just be like, no, that's wrong, just so that they have that experience and can remember that. When you're an adult, I feel like sort of like can't teach an old dog new tricks. Like we could tell them over and over again, but like I don't think I want to expend my energy that way. I don't have that much energy.
Yeah,
I think.
Go ahead.
I think for me, a lot of it is like microaggressions, and so then I start to doubt myself. Like, well, is it really racist, or like, am I just reading too much into it? And then like, there's that issue, and then also it's like this is like your teacher, so I feel like I always want to be like 100% sure. So that usually stops me a little bit.
I said
Something I realized among like the black community, I feel like we're more hesitant to not like confront teachers, whereas I would see my white peers, they speak to their teachers like they're friends.
Yeah.
I've always been taught like they're an elder and like they have so much control, but I'm slowly drifting away from that, and I need to vocalize how I feel.
Yeah, I had like one experience calling out a teacher, and like it didn't make me wish I had it, but like I just feel like she turned it into like a Harkness conversation once, which I didn't like. And I'm like, I get you're a teacher, but this, like, personally, I didn't feel like this teacher had the knowledge base to even be discussing what we were discussing in the first place. And I felt like they weren't taking me seriously at all. And it is kind of hard to reach out to a teacher because I feel like if they don't understand, they talk to other teachers and they twist your words, and I'm always worried about like if I have them in a class, like what are they gonna think of me, because we don't always suspend our judgment. So I do think it is really difficult, and when I had that experience, I just like felt like what I had to say was downplayed, and I was honestly felt disrespected. So.
Saw Coliseum, now hear this mixture where hip-hop meets scripture, develop a negative into a positive picture.
Alright, never have I ever had my makeup done by a white stylist. I'm just gonna be honest, that's never happened to me. Never done it.
No, I always request a black woman. just because I feel more comfortable. And I don't get my makeup done often. I think I've gotten it done twice, and each time I got a black woman.
The one time I got this talking about makeup, but my hair done, it just doesn't turn out right at all.
Oh yeah,
So-
that was an experience that we experienced together here in Lawrenceville because we needed to get our hair done for J Prom, and we went to La Jolie, in Princeton.
Was overpriced and
My hair
didn't even
poofed.
last. So
Poofed the night of, and then everybody was like, "Wow, your hair looks so cool." I said, "No, no."
not what
Yeah,
I
whenever my hair is like wavy but humidity hit, oh, you look so.
No, okay, but sometimes that's true
No,
for you.
no,
listen to me. It was straight, and it was an afro with straight strands. I look like you know those rock and roll people
Yes.
with the tight jeans that have the poofy hair, but it's straight. That's literally how I looked, and I did not pay $70. Did not pay $70 to have it poofed that night. So that's why I typically request black stylists.
Yeah.
makes sense. Okay.
Our philosophy, possibly speak tongues, beat drums at vicinity.
Never have I ever defended affirmative action.
I have.
I wrote a paper about it.
I did a presentation about it.
I had a conversation with a girl, because she basically told me, she was a minority too, and she told me she thought it was unfair because sometimes there are minorities who are like affluent and they shouldn't be getting the positions over like non-minorities, regardless of whether the non-minorities are affluent. So yeah, like we talked about affirmative action for a while, and I like told her my opinion. Like, well, the one fact that I always bring up that like affirmative action helps white women more than it helps any minority group. And then and then we just talked about, and then I like basically just defended it and said like I think like how it is now is like it's good.
It's just my friend. He's going to pretty good school, and people at his school was saying like you basically don't deserve it. You got in because you're black. Affirmative action, and I realize it's something that people, the privileged group, love to scream out when they don't get the position that they want, or they don't get into an institution that they want. And that's their favorite line. I'm just not sure.
I think the best way to also look at it for them is that that's like someone who's not in a position of power saying you only got in because your daddy went there and your granddaddy went there and your great granddaddy went there. Yeah. So just as much as they don't like being seen as just like a legacy child, people don't like being seen as I only got in because of affirmative action. There are tons of black boys and black girls that apply.
Just as qualified,
if not more
something
qualified.
Stood out. Exactly.
So affirmative action may have helped, but
we don't. That's just one part of the formula.
Yeah.
To be honest,
So I think
Actress, you can't match this. Rapper / actress, more powerful than two Cleopatras. Bomb graffiti on the tomb of Nefertiti.
Never have I ever watched a show with a black female lead who I liked or connected with.
Being Mary Jane is a really, really good show. And I think Gabrielle Union does a great job of bringing up social, racial, sexist issues through the show. And I really like her. I think she's very strong-willed. I don't necessarily agree with her character all the time. But I think she's powerful and cool.
Actually, I liked Cookie from Empire.
Why are you hesitant?
I just feel like she's portrayed as like one of those like shrew characters who's always like harping on her man, and like she's always like yelling or just like generally being loud and like aggressive towards like all the like men in her family.
I think it's just power and personality. She's her own
Same.
woman. I don't see that as like fulfilling a stereotype.
She has some setbacks,
Honestly,
but she did for her fam.
And then I also think like a lot of her power is sexual and not like her own.
Oh
personal
no!
I don't think so.
The thing is, her relationship with Lucius is
It was a
something
marriage.
special.
Yeah,
It's a marriage.
exactly.
The thing is, they don't really have that sexual tension there all the time. What I see more is love, and then her strength triumphing like everything.
I agree.
Also, like she's just musically talented.
Yeah.
It's clear that she's the brains of the
brains,
operation, and
I
it's
like
clear that she doesn't necessarily get the credit that's due. But everyone knows that she's at the heart of it, and I think that like says a lot about black women.
I have strong opinions about Carrie. So my sisters and I watch Scandal all the time, and basically my sister told me once that like the only reason that like Carrie has her power is because she could go to the president and she could like get him to do stuff for her, and the only reason she had that kind of power is because they were sleeping together. And I thought about it, and like most of like what she can do for her clients comes from the fact that she can like at the end of the day go to the president and be like, I want this done, and it gets done.
Okay, listen, I'm not well versed in Scandal. I may have watched like all of season 1, but I stopped watching after that. But I thought that for a long time it was a secret, and a lot of the work that she was doing was built up on her reputation as an individual. I guess I see how her power and her strength and her ability can be misconstrued because she's sleeping with the president and then gets an advantage. And I don't necessarily agree with that portrayal, but I think that she does have like a sort of strength of her own. And
The whole sleeping with a white president undercover bothers me, but then at the same time she does represent this like black woman that a lot of people are intimidated by and afraid of, and it always talks about how she like wears the white hat, but she's just on top of everything, doesn't really answer to anyone, and it's just like when I think of her, for the most part, other than the president situation, like I think just independent.
But we don't really see, it's interesting, we don't see lead women who aren't what you just said. Like aren't, not intimidating, but aren't like super powerful and super respected. Like, I mean, not saying that that's bad, but it's also often the independent, strong woman who's good at what she does.
Yeah.
I don't think
We're so confused, easily led astray. Let me tell you that.
So in this box we have a few stereotypes, and we're gonna pass it around for 25 seconds. Once the music stops, we'll take one out and we'll discuss it, kind of like rapid fire. And so you can go.
Let's do
Yeah,
it.
we're ready?
Yeah.
Sorry, Mom.
we have high standards.
I have high
I do.
standards.
I do.
I don't know why
Why
we
should
all
we?
have high
Yeah.
standards.
I think we should all have high standards.
Yeah.
Not like we
Yeah.
deserve anything less.
Should we
I
take
don't
it out?
understand.
Does everyone not? I don't know.
Yeah. I don't understand. why
Everybody
people
should have high
negative
standards for
standards.
themselves.
I agree.
Yeah, that shouldn't be
It's
like
just-
a negative connotation.
Yeah, it's not negative.
Here we go.
Thank you. Oh.
Yeah, all black people love grape soda.
I personally do
It's
not.
one of my
do not
least
like
favorite
grape
sodas.
The only soda I like is ginger ale, and I don't even classify it as soda.
Thank you.
Exactly.
I don't want to break out. I like
Sorry.
my mom.
I don't want my tongue purple.
I actually
Like-
like Fanta, but yeah, grape is not
That's-
not good.
Grape tastes cheap.
It's
to me.
yeah, I
I
agree.
don't like soda.
But to anyone who does
and
like
I'm
it,
black.
that's great.
So the
Yeah.
stereotype's wrong.
Should be drinking water. So.
Mhm.
True.
Second that.
Who was that?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I should have landed my hand.
We make everything about race. Okay, honestly, I just think that it's a part of the process of discovery.
Yeah.
Realizing that you're an oppressed group, it's a part of your learning process to realize that a lot of the things that you do are, or that happens to you, are related to race.
Yeah, like every day you wake up and you're like, okay.
Okay, it's okay.
All black people are uneducated.
It's not true.
I
Yeah.
feel like I shouldn't even have to break this one.
I
down,
agree.
Honestly,
Yeah.
Black people are
that's an
uneducated.
Let's have a
that's an
conversation.
uneducated
Yeah,
thought in itself.
Exactly.
Um,
To think a whole group of people do not have formal
If you
education.
believe that, we can talk, and I'll set that straight.
And this is my favorite line, and you know that, but we're the only group of people to write our way
Yeah.
into freedom as an African American group of people. We had to literally convince people of our humanity by writing.
Yeah.
So that doesn't sound uneducated for me from the roots of who we are.
Aren't black females most represented, or like the
Yeah.
population who's most
Yeah.
in college right now in
Yeah.
universities?
Yeah, from the numbers that we have in America,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
A good percentage of us are being college educated. Yeah.
we understand the importance of education.
Exactly. It's
Exactly.
honestly just an unacceptable stereotype at this point.
I have it.
Sorry. No, because it was gonna go really
Oh
quick.
yeah.
We are welfare queens.
Oh My goodness.
Who
I personally don't know anybody on welfare.
Same.
And if
Even
you need
if
the help,
I
you need the
did,
help.
Yeah.
even if
The
I
system
did,
is-
like the issue in general with stereotypes is that one person, that one black female or whoever that I know on welfare or that you know on welfare should just never be a representative of her entire community. And if anything, that just looks like a step toward doing what you need to do.
I also think the welfare system is misrepresented in general. A lot of people think of welfare as only benefiting the poor, when most of America's welfare is geared towards everyone.
Yeah.
Like, for example, AARP, Social Security,
Yeah.
and then you have select groups or programs that are geared towards welfare for the poor. And I'm pretty sure it's proven that white people are the highest group taking advantage of that. And I think that it's also interesting because as a black female growing up in a city, a lot of the people that I see working hard, black women that are supposedly, I don't know, schmoozing off of the system, are working 2 jobs to feed their kids. Single mothers
that combats
oftentimes.
this laziness stereotype as well.
I've never really personally encountered someone that I would even ever classify as a welfare queen, because a lot of the people I know who are probably getting assistance from the government are also working really hard.
There's like no such thing as a welfare queen. Even if you get this like governmental assistance, it's really not enough to feed yourself or your family. So you need to work incredibly hard to make ends meet. So like that, first of all, welfare queen isn't even a thing. So that should be a stereotype.
Okay, so today we're here with Amaya, and essentially we just wanted a perspective from the younger generation on some of the topics that we've been talking about, and thought Amaya would be the perfect choice to kind of give us some insight and answer a few of our questions.
So Amaya, what do you think about your hair?
I like it, but sometimes I want it to be straight
Why is that?
because then it's gonna be longer.
If it's straight? What do you like about long hair?
I want it to go longer.
So we have a weird question for you, and you can answer any way you want. What are you?
What do you mean what I am?
What do you think we mean?
What do you think we mean? If you could say what you are, what?
I'm a human being.
Wow,
Okay,
that's
I
a good
would-
one.
yeah,
That's
you
a good
are.
place to start. Who is it okay to date?
I'm not into dating.
No, but no, not what about you.
Like in general, or like
For
for
adults.
us or for adults, yeah.
Whatever my mom tells you.
Whatever my
What
mom.
would your mom tell us? Do you know?
No, whoever you're comfortable with.
What's dating?
Okay.
Whoever I'm
Yeah.
comfortable
What do you
with. Yeah.
What do you feel about interracial dating?
What's interracial
Like-
dating?
A black guy dating a white girl.
It's fine
Why is it okay?
because they feel comfortable together.
Do you know any racial couples?
No.
You don't?
No.
Not at all? Oh.
It's really funny.
What's really funny?
Your answer.
Why?
Because your mommy and your dad, they're an interracial couple.
How are they interracial?
Because your mom identifies as Asian and your dad identifies, I'm assuming, as black.
He's Jamaican, not black.
Ooh, what's the difference?
Because he comes from Jamaica.
And where do black people come from?
Around the world, except in this particular part, he comes from a different place. He comes from Jamaica.
Are you black?
No,
What do you think you are?
I'm part Jamaican, part Asian, part Cambodian, part Vietnamese, and part American.
So if part of you is like black or Jamaican, not all of you can be? Like
No,
you can't.
because I have an Asian mom.
Alright.